Welcome back everyone to another comic breakdown on the channel, and today we're looking at Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16. This one may have more potential than people may think, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. We'll be going through the drop details, the comic importance, my predictions, and last but not least, my plan. So moving on, these are different variant covers that we'll be getting today. In order from left to right is the ultra rare, the uncommon, the common, the rare, and the secret rare. I really like the comic covers that we're getting for this drop, and I'll definitely be picking up the common and the ultra rare for my collection. The drop's taking place on Thursday, 3rd February at 8 AM Pacific time. The edition size is the same as the other 30K edition drops, so nothing different there. And for this comic, the rare, the ultra rare will be exclusive variants to VeVe. So Romina Jones did the exclusive covers for this comic, and she's actually the first female artist to have exclusive covers in NFT format. The cool fact is that this NFT variant is releasing before her first Marvel physical variant drop. So later on in the year, they're releasing a She-Hulk comic and Amazing Spider-Man comic drawn by her. So big congrats to her for this historical achievement, and shout out to Boodle NFT because he used a video about this recently, and that's where I got the information from. So I got his socials on the screen right now, and I really recommend you guys checking his content out. So quickly, before we move on to talking about the comic itself, I want to let you guys know that I have a spreadsheet linked down in the description with all the resources that I've used and would recommend when it comes to VeVe. These people have created content that really helped me navigate the VeVe space, and on this spreadsheet you can find links to YouTube channels, websites, as well as their Twitter accounts. On the same spreadsheet and on a different tab, I have a record of all the comics that have dropped on VeVe with the comic series, the edition size, and the significance. So once again, that's linked down in the description if you guys want to access this resource. So to the character appearances and the storyline for this comic. Of course, we have Spider-Man, with this being a Amazing Spider-Man comic. We also have the Thing from the Fantastic Four and most of the popular Avengers like Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, the Wasp, and so on. The story is about Spider-Man beating Monica Rambeau as she takes down some thieves, and when Spidey comes to introduce himself, Monica accidentally blasts him away with her energy. She realizes that she doesn't have much control over her powers and goes to meet the Fantastic Four. She meets the Thing looking for help, but he refers to her to the Avengers since Mr. Fantastic's out of town. As Monica goes to the Avengers, she has trouble channeling her powers, and the Avengers help her out there. They make acquaintance at the end of the comic with each other, and that's the start of Monica Rambeau's time with the Avengers. So this being the first appearance of Monica Rambeau, which is pretty significant with this comic. She appears here as Captain Marvel, though she does undertake other names throughout history, such as Spectrum and Photon. Her powers come from being exposed to a large blast of cosmic energy, enabling her to convert her body mass into any energy from the electromagnetic spectrum. She also has stints with the Avengers, as I mentioned before. Now, this is a comic that has recently become popular because Monica Rambeau has actually made an appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She appeared in Captain Marvel, I think in 2018. And then she recently appeared in the WandaVision Disney Plus show. It seems that Marvel is setting her up to be the hero Photon, and she's confirmed to appear in a Disney Plus series coming out in 2023 called The Marvels. So talking about the physical value of this comic, a 9+ rated comic has a fair market value of $425 according to Go Collect, though most eBay listings are going for about $80 to $120. I'm sure this comic only has room to grow as the character gets more screen time. It is one of the cheaper comics that has released on VeVe recently, but it being an Amazing Spider-Man comic, I'm sure will give it more value on VeVe. Here are all the resources that I used to make this video. If you guys want to dive deeper to the storyline and the character, or even check out Romina Jones on Twitter, here are the links to it. I'm sure you can find it through a quick Google search, but this is all the resources that I've used. Captain America 117 came out earlier this week, and it's very cheap on the market, especially considering that it's a major key comic. If you want to hear about that comic, you can check out the video on my channel where I talk about that one. And back to this one, I think this will perform similarly, if not worse than that. I do think the ultra rare and secret rare will do alright because they do look really good, and people who usually buy those do it for the aesthetics. So I'm putting the common at 18, the uncommon at 22, the rare at 55, the ultra rare 135, and the secret rare at 580. Though the ultra rares actually have been pretty low recently, and I would say that this will probably dip down to even 110 or even 100 like the Daredevil ultra rare. So keep an eye out for that. I say this comic isn't a great hold, and maybe sell it if you land on the drop, unless you're willing to hold it for a long time. It will rise as Monica Rambeau gets more screen time, though that may be a long time away. It has a colorful comic cover too, and I'm sure that the more eye-catching covers will do better than others once the showroom update comes around that lets us display the comics. I'll pick one up for my collection, but honestly isn't a comic that I'm too interested in. I would prefer to put those gems into other cheaper comics that I was stacking, like Captain America 117, which is at the time of recording about 22 gems. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. So if you guys enjoyed it or learned something, I'd appreciate if you liked the video and left a comment. Subscribe if you're new around here, and that's my Twitter handle on the screen right now. So yeah, thank you for watching and good luck on the comic drop.